Hello Mom and Dad Meet World. So today we are talking about this particular camera right here. This is the Sony NEX 5R, and I think this camera really paved the way back in 2012. But to give you a little bit of a history on this camera, this was part of Sony's NEX line. Sony introduced this line of cameras way back in 2010 when they introduced the Sony NEX3 and Sony NEX5. Fast forward 2 years after that to 2012, and that's when they introduced this particular camera right here. This is the Sony NEX 5R. In a way, when this camera came out, it was a game changer, but this camera also paved the way for what the new Sony cameras are today in the Sony a6700 and the Sony FX30. Yes, the Sony FX30 for the APS-C line of cameras. So this camera right here is an APS-C crop sensor. This has the now infamous Sony Emount Lens system. This is an Emount Lens, the 16-50 that I've got shown on here. This is actually what comes with the Sony ZV-E10 that I have right here. And if you take a look at the differences in the cameras, you can see the evolution from one camera that was introduced in 2012 to a camera that dates back to about, 2021, 2022 in the ZV-E10. Both crop sensor cameras, but both very compact. So this camera right here, I would say, would still even hold up for a great camera today with one minor exception. We'll talk about that. So with this camera, as far as the build quality, it's actually got a magnesium front and a magnesium top. And I think this is actually a really well-built camera. It's very lightweight, and as you can see here, it's also very discreet. But this camera right here, it does have 16 megapixels. Yes, that's not too bad actually, 16 megapixel sensor. The screen actually does flip up like this. It does record 1080p at 60 frames per second and actually uses a Sony NP-FW50 battery. Again, same thing this camera uses today, that same battery and the same lens, except one is silver, one is black. But again, both E-mount systems. But again, I think this is still a very good camera even today. I think the only part where this camera tends to fall apart, and you'll see it here in the B-roll, it's gonna be in the menu system. The menu system in this camera is very outdated. This one's got the older menu system, and I know the cameras like the A7 IV and the a6700, they have got that newer Sony menu system. But yeah, this is the only part where it falls apart is gonna be that menu system. Looks very outdated, looks like a very older menu system. But let's talk about some of the good things and why I think this camera right here was that game changer. And I think one of the main reasons was their autofocus. So Sony is really known for their autofocus. So this camera right here has 25 contrast detect points and 99 phase detect points on this camera right here. And you think about, well, the new cameras, the Sony a6700 also has 25 contrast and like 700 plus phase detection points. But that camera also has new AI technology. But again, this thing takes great pictures, decent video, and the only part where I will really fault it on the video is there's no actual microphone jack, but the 1080p 60 video is actually quite good. And I've got some video examples that you will see here also. So here is a little bit of the audio recording as a sample using the Sony NX 5R along with the factory f3.5 to 5.6 16-50 OSS lens. This is the factory standard when the NEX6 had come out, but the NEX 5R still has 18-55, but this is the 16-50 APS-C lens in the E-mount format. And I believe this is a contemporary lens still used right now with the Sony ZV-E10 and other APS-C cameras that it comes with today. We are recording in 1080p 60. There is no microphone input, so you're hearing the sound directly from the camera itself. Hopefully it sounds pretty well. It is a stereo microphone setup, but hopefully it is picking up my face without any issues, and I'm holding this at about a little less than arm's length, so this is equivalent to about a 24mm full frame, and it is at f3.5. So hopefully we have a little bit of background separation, but hopefully it also sounds really good too. Again, there is no microphone input. This is just the onboard microphone with the Sony NEX5R. It looks pretty good to me. I do like the flip-up screen. It does have the flip-up style screen that you do find on like the Sony a6100. And I know that the Sony a6700, it has the flippy screen that is on the side, but I do like the flip-up screen right here that does come with this, along with this being so compact that you can pretty much bring it anywhere, especially with this 16-50 lens, this power zoom lens, much smaller than the 18-55 or so that had come with it previously. But yeah, the 16-50, pretty darn good lens, and hopefully it sounds good to you. But overall today, even in 2023, this camera, if you can get this camera for relatively inexpensive, $100 or less, which we did. We got this camera for about $50. It came with 2 Sony NP-FW50 batteries and the charger. Along with this particular lens, this actually was a steal. But if you are looking to get into the Sony camera line, this is a great little camera. Again, complete with the Emount lens and the same battery that you can use for this thing right here. So if you do want to upgrade to something like the ZV-E10, you can, and you can actually still use the lens and the battery from this camera all on this camera. Overall, I hope you enjoyed the review of this camera right here, the Sony NEX5R. It's a blast from the past, but I would think still good for use today, and a great little starter camera, especially if you are looking to get into the Sony line of interchangeable lens cameras. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. And until the next one, thank you.